Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're all having a good Monday. This is when we're recording it. Obviously, you guys will probably see it later on in this week. I've got Marcin joining us, our CTO, the brains behind the operation, as it were. Hey Marcin, how's it going today?
Hi guys, it's a pleasure. It's all fine, and we got good news for you today, I guess.
Yeah, it's good. I think it's interesting to obviously go back over the last few months and just highlight some of the things that have been happening, just to keep the community updated. Anyone who's incoming from a new community standpoint can have a look on what's been happening and where we're heading. And yeah, we've got some interesting updates for you guys, so I hope you enjoy it. And yeah, we'll get right into it. So yeah, just some of the updates from AngelBlock specifically. We have had a good few months. We've done the Delta Prime raise, we've done the Lingo raise, and we've done the Spotify raise. So over the last 2 months or so, it was actually calculated at about 6 weeks. We raised roughly $350,000 for obviously incoming startups, which is really good. Some of them are on the brink of doing their TGEs and carrying on with the next phases of their development, which is really exciting for them. But yeah, overall, from an AngelBlock perspective, we're quite excited about the trend. You know, like the last few months has been kind of a downturn in terms of the market overall conditions. So for us to have filled those raises out and fill them in good time is very, very good for us. You know, I think it's a good marker on where the market is headed. Considering majority of our user base is retail, we do have a few institutional investors that are verified on the platform. But majority of our users are retail and are speculating in the market, you know. So for us to have filled these raises in relatively short time, I think the Lingo raise initially was done in an hour. The Delta Prime raise was obviously an extended raise that happened over 6 days. But still, we raised $150,000 for them, which is $140,000, sorry, for them, which is really good. It was our biggest raise. And then we did the Spotify raise, which sold out in about 27 hours. So obviously, it's really good to get these raises filled, and it's good news for ongoing, you know, because the market's only going to trend bullish from here. I think until probably my speculations till the end of 2025, maybe 2026. But that can all change, you know. Like it's good to obviously like pivot with the market and to offer good projects, you know, that are going to build through this very bullish stage and growth stage of the market. But yeah, just generally, I think what we've observed, like a majority of the team, Marcin included, and Alex and a couple of the other guys, is the market had a bit of a downturn, had a bit of a dip through April, May, and what we've seen is some good reversals on for the most part on the larger caps like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and then obviously the narrative projects, you know, the ones that are AI projects, real world asset projects. But majority of altcoins are still playing catch up after the liquidity disbursement, you know. So we're wanting to see a bit more of a trend where instead of Bitcoin leading the market, we need ETH to lead the market for more bullish altcoin price action, you know. And we kind of need ETH to have a bid first in order for that to happen, which could happen through the ETF. You know, I think we'll see something similar to what happened with the Bitcoin ETF in terms of there being some hysteria in the beginning and then some disbursement, and then we'll probably see a more general growth pattern leading up into the end of Q3, Q4, which I believe is where we'll see a lot of the movements for altcoins, and it'll be a good fundraising kind of market for any project that's looking to raise, you know. So that's what's really exciting. You know what? We think that at this stage of the market, it's still at a point where there's a high risk, high yield kind of bet in terms of a marker for people. And it's basically down to a few things, you know, like with regards to the interest rates being high, inflation, obviously, basically just taking away people's savings and not having additional capital to obviously have some more risk in the markets. We're seeing these high risk plays, for example, meme coins, that could obviously yield you high reward, and they're putting like $100, $200, $300 here, and then obviously hoping to earn hundreds of thousands or millions, and not really caring about if it goes to zero. So we're kind of at that stage in the market. I kind of equate it to similar to how DeFi summer was in 2020. So that's where I kind of position ourselves in the market right now. We kind of in the June to August 2020 version of this type of market. The only reason why Bitcoin's at the kind of level it's at is through institutional investing. Like we haven't seen much of a bid on ETH. It's really just been dragged up by Bitcoin, and obviously the narrative around the ETF. So I still think that there's going to be a lot of liquidity dispersed to the altcoin markets throughout next year, which will obviously be good for people speculating on new projects. And that's obviously good for the fundraising market. But where we are at right now is we think that investors are more looking at projects and what their cap tables are like, who's their investors, what kind of markets are they listed on. Those are the markers that people are following in terms of like gaining bags of specific projects, and we're not at the stage where everyone's just throwing money to the wind and hoping that everything goes up. I don't think we're at that stage of the market yet. But what we want to do in terms of AngelBlock is we want to try and position ourselves for retail to be fully risk on with regards to speculating on newer based projects, projects that are obviously going to have TGEs. And we remember back in 2020 when you had a TGE and the project would have a 10 or 20x return on the first day, and basically we're trying to prepare ourselves for that specific part of the market. But yeah, we definitely think that at this point, inflation has robbed a few of the retail users of their savings. Obviously, people are still coming out of the last bear market with minimal profits and wanting to wait for those profits to obviously turn green, or obviously to have better positioning on their specific entries. But I think with the M2 money supply starting to turn around, and we should see some interest rate cuts, and the US positioning itself to be more crypto friendly, I think we've got some very good months ahead, and we should see some good trending kind of markets for crypto specifically. So, but yeah, let me move on to Marcin, and Marcin's going to basically just give us some technical updates about AngelBlock itself. Yeah, I've rambled on a little bit more about the general market and macro, but it'll be good to hear about AngelBlock specifically, and how we've kind of got to the point where we're building new things and we've got new features, etc. So Marcin, just quickly, I know that in the last couple of months we've onboarded some new chains and had a lot of interest from that level. Do you want to just broad kind of just give us a summary on that specific?
Sure. So a lot have happened, I would say, in June and July. We introduced new chains. We added Avalanche and Base support to the existing EVM chains. So in total, right now, from EVM side, we support Ethereum, Polygon, Avalanche, and Base. But additionally, we finalized our work on integration with AlephZero chain. We don't have any rise incoming so far for them at the short time, but we are right now fully compliant with A0. So we got smart contract prepared for them. If there would be any raise, we can just host it there. It wouldn't cost it that much. So we could say that in total, we have support for Ethereum, Polygon, Avalanche, Base, and A0, and potentially any EVM chain that is compliant with the bridge providers we are integrated with. So that's how it looked like in terms of the supported chains.
Cool, yeah, and I think the kind of the good thing about that is obviously we have a wide variety of projects that we can choose from on all those different chains. Like I said before, we're not at the stage of the market where people are like choosing chains or specifically like being loyal to a chain. You know, everything multi-chain. If it's a good project, people will obviously want to be involved with. You know, so it makes sense for us as a fundraising platform to accommodate that. You know, and yeah, in terms of new features, you know, like what would you say in the last 2 months has been good for AngelBlock in terms of like onboarding new features and that sort of narrative, you know?
Yeah, so just to summarize what we done, we introduced couple features. One of them was the OTC Rise deal. So it's a new type of the raise which allow us to not only host the rise when we are selling the tokens for the startup, which will be existing in the future as a pre-sale or private sale, but also for existing startup which already have tokens, but to offer them in a better price in comparison to the market condition in exchange for the vesting. So over-the-counter deals, that's the one feature. Additionally, we introduced kickoff funds release milestone, so something like Milestone.Zero, which we are able to offer under meeting the certain criteria for eligible startups to release some portion of the funding initially sooner than we did that before. So originally we required the milestone to be completed from the startup side, but for some startups that are organizing prizes on our platform and are meeting certain criteria, like have successful successful, I would say, amount of the raise, which is like trusted and high enough, we are able to determine the conditions to allow them to access funding quicker without necessary to meet all the criteria for the milestones. So example could be that if we got like various tiers, how we categorize different startups and the rises, if the startup has enough credibility and if they are raising enough money, and if it's certain type of sale. So for example, if it's like a private sale, or is it like is it like public sale, or maybe they have already existing token. Based on those facts, we are able to categorize rises and startups and attach them to different tiers. And based on the tier, we are able to determine how much percentage we can unlock at kickoff at the end of the raise for the startup to access funding quicker. Additionally, we also introduced feature called claiming. So before we were only constrained without the milestone, and milestone was like the conditions which startup needed to fulfill to unlock the money for both investors and startups. And right now we introduced the next layer, which is claiming. And claiming is like the second layer, which is made for an investor. So right now, startup needs to fulfill the milestone, and startup is able to unlock the funds after completing the milestone. But claiming are like integration with the vesting of startup. So if startup wants to delay funds for investors to have this more gradual release of tokens to the market, to control more like how market is filled with the tokens after the unlocking of the milestone, they are able to do that. And they are able to introduce several, I would say, smaller tiers for investors over the time to more gradually control how the tokens are released to the market. So like one milestone for startup can have like 5 or more even claimings for investor. And additionally, the latest feature, which was introduced in late Jan, is rescheduling of claiming. So we are able to like alternate and postpone already submitted claimings to the platform. So the goal is that startup in some edge cases can submit for altering the dates the only condition here is that it could not be done too late. So there is like 1 week period before the claiming date, which startup can submit for altering of the claiming. So this is just to more deeply integrate with custom vestings for the tokens that startup can have.
That's awesome. Awesome. I think something that's it's kind of under the radar is how important good OTC platforms are, right? Because at the moment, anything OTC is you have a middleman. You know, you have this point of failure where they have to be vetted. They take large percentages. They take 5% or 6% of the actual trade. Whereas with the smart contract and the escrow that you guys have built, or that we thought, so should I say, has got to a point where you can do that through the technical side, you know, and that's really important. And I think unlocking the liquidity of unvested tokens is a major problem for people that hold on to long-term vesting, you know. So it aids in a solution for people to try and have some additional liquidity earlier on, you know, because this is something that I think AngelBlock was trying to like get to a point where we were going to do this for startups, where through the badge system, and we haven't got to that stage, which is obviously still in the works. But the OTC side, it helps a broader market that's not liquid to become liquid, you know, and I think that's something that's really important. And yeah. So I know for a fact that we've also not only have we integrated the AlephZero bridge, but we've also been helping with other types of AlephZero ecosystem projects. Do you want to just dive into what AngelBlock's been a part of over the last 2 months?
Sure. We were doing like work with AlephZero on 3 different fronts, I would say. So one is that we worked on the smart contracts that would be compliant with AlephZero network. They went through the audit and they are finalized. They were not deployed yet though, but we are able to host rises on AlephZero if there would be enough need there. Additionally, there is upcoming AlephZero layer 2 built on EVM, which we also could be compliant with. So that's regarding the smart contracts. Another point of view is that we were involved in work over the Guardian infrastructure for the bridge, and we have become a guardian there. So basically we set up the whole infrastructure. We were in the part of the workshops, and we are performing as one of the bridge provider. And like it was rolled out to mainnet in Jan, so it's already happening for the last months. Additionally, we of course are keeping our AlephZero validator node, and we are mining blocks there. So we are also performing in the network creation for AlephZero, and yeah, that's how we are tackling this. So those 3 fronts.
Great. Thanks for that. And I know that we spoke before regarding a lot of the other technical kind of updates with AngelBlock protocol itself. There's been a lot of movement on performance, a lot of movement on UX. So if you want to just dive into that and give us a little bit of an overview.
Sure. So regarding the performance, we approached this from a couple angles. One angle is the loading speed improvements for our website. So we performed some serious backend optimization for particular views to reduce the number of the calls on different pages, to speed up the process, how the pages load, to optimize models on the backend side. Basically, we are monitoring the page and trying to find the best way how to improve the loading speed, the UX, the interaction of the user and the site, and ensure that whole site is running smoothly. Additionally, we also performed some optimization from DevOps side. to our A0 node. So we introduced and completed the failover mechanism. And from last month, our uptime bumped up to 100%. Before it was like 99.1 or 99.5, depending on different conditions. And with failover, so with this very smooth, swift change between one node being up to very fast to another node, we reduce the downtime significantly. And additionally, in terms of UX, we improved our KYC flow, we improved our allowance flow for users. We also introduced new claiming panel for the users with the new look. So there were a couple of improvements there also.
Great, great. Yeah, I think that's something that is it's always good to obviously hear feedback, you know. And the thing is that with all the raises, I've personally been involved with them. I know you personally been involved with them. I can just say, just like from an unbiased perspective, that it's a very simple way if you want to get involved with any project that's starting up, you know. And being part of that whole fundraising process is super easy. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to do that. I think that's one of the things that is definitely a feather in the cap for the not only the design team but also the devs themselves. So yeah, I think everyone can appreciate an easy flow of trying to figure out how to do something, especially with regards to crypto. You know, I think that's one of the major flaws that this industry has, is everyone thinks that users are professional computer people, you know. And even myself, like I'm majority finance. I still like fumble around a lot of infrastructure, you know. And so it's really nice to have something that's easy to use, something that's easy to teach as well, something that's like very teachable to someone who doesn't really know what they're doing with regards to wallet integrations or connecting or KYC or anything like that. So yeah. And I think the next phase of this AMA, or this just like this update video, is there's a lot of things incoming, you know, like a lot of things that are being built out, that are going to be visible for the users, which is really exciting. Do you want to dive into some of the upcomings? We can talk about roadmap items or like immediate updates. Yeah, oh, the floor is yours.
I will cover maybe it into sections. So first section would be upcoming in the short term, and second section would be upcoming in the long term. So in short term, we will be integrating the new version for our bridge provider, AlephZero. We would be migrating to V2, which would allow us to support more chains, not only EVM chains, but also non-EVM chains, and which would be future-proof. So that would be a huge step forward for our bridge providing services and cross-chain communication. Also, we will be introducing a huge optimization for loading speed of the website, but this time not backend side optimization, but front-end side optimization. So we would be introducing server-side rendering for static pages, which would even further improve how the website offers great UX and is smooth. Also, something that would be upcoming in short term is we would be introducing this feature for sophisticated investor support. So we would be able finally to allow access to US-based users, maybe not all of them, but to particular types of investors from the US, which would meet certain criteria to invest in the protocol. So we would like be open to more groups of the users on the market. Additionally, we will introduce from DevOps side an extended monitoring services for our A0 node failover. So this is like internal feature for us, but this would allow us to offer even greater experience for the end users of our services which we are providing, and those would be for AlephZero node, which would be integrating with the network of A0 and validating the blocks there. So we would ensure that our uptime stays at 100% no matter what in future all the time. And in the long term, features which we are planning to introduce, there would be an admin panel for startups. So we want to improve the flow for the startups which are submitting submissions to AngelBlock to host Rises there, and we would allow them to do more and more things, to have the account there, to be able to log in, to be able to specify some um, details for the raise there, and to manage the raise via the panel. So at the beginning, we want to introduce it in for some most important core functionalities, but over the time, for sure, we will extend it with more and more capabilities. Another feature which would be incoming and is on our roadmap would be project subscriptions and notifications for the investors, so they can stay up to date with what's happening on AngelBlock with the project they invested, to be able to be notified if the rise is close to fulfill the soft cap or hard cap, if there would be voting happening on the protocol soon, so the investors can take part in it. Additionally, there are two cool features which are planned for the future, which are more complex, but I believe they have quite good potential and they are bringing value to AngelBlock. So one of them is the concept of wrapped tolos, which has a ticker WTOL, which would be the combination of Tolos and Ethereum. So you can imagine similar concept to wrapped Ethereum, when you can deposit ETH on the contract and received wrapped ETH, and basically to convert currency of the network to the ERC20 token. And here we would be able to combine Tolos, which is the token of AngelBlock, with the currency of Ethereum, so ETH, and a couple of very sophisticated integrations can be unlocked thanks to Wraptol, and we plan to integrate it with different DeFi protocols underneath, so generate extra yield for staking. Imagine that right now, if you stake TOL, you earn TOL, but if you will stake, for example, Wraptol, you can earn both ETH and TOL, and if even with increased APY, and additional thing can happen underneath. So for example, just to give one of example utility that might be possible, we might be able to increase the liquidity thanks to the staked Wraptolos for our Uniswap pools. So we might be able to strengthen the ability to provide the swapping on the Uniswap or other platforms, and to integrate with other protocols that can generate extra yield, like for example Yearn or any other that are on the market like Lido. So I guess it is on a very experimental stage, but there is quite great potential for it. So expect great things with the Raptolos. And the last thing which we plan to introduce is submissions of EAPs and low patents. Those would be correlated with our know-how and our IPs. And we have still closed source on our main repository, but we wrote a lot of code which could be shared to a lot of the users. And let's say that this is the first stage when we want to share our IPs to the outside world. So basically with some frameworks that we created underneath, with some new patterns for coding and for building the secure contracts that we introduced also. So that's let's say a highlight for long term.
Very cool, very cool. And I think that just gives just additional utility to Thor. You know, like at the moment, like Thor is used as a requirement layer for specific types of investments, and obviously staking rewards. But it'll be good to have something additional that's valuable on this level, you know, and something that we're really looking forward to. And yeah, I think from a technical side, that's about it. But I will say that in the next couple of weeks, we are going to be hosting an additional 2 raises. One of them being Lender, which is a real world asset project, and we're going to be doing the AMA for that in the coming week. So looking forward to that. And the other one, we just ironing out details, but we're hoping to get it done by the end of August for that raise. So yeah, looking forward to a bunch of new starters that are going to be part of the dashboard soon. Just on a quick note, we have interacted with Chainsight. Obviously, we did the AMA with them, and look, Chainsight is an amazing project. They are building out an amazing infrastructure for. I think it's more tailored toward the institutional investors at this stage. Don't get me wrong. A lot of retail users can use it for different chain analysis and all that sort of thing. But I don't think we're at the point in the market where it's going to impact retail in the way that we can actually benefit the project in terms of a raise. So our whole goal is to still be working with Chainsight, but we'll probably do it at a later stage once they've built out a more kind of retail version of the platform, you know, and we're still going to be working with them. They're still going to be part of the ecosystem, which is exciting. But yeah, looking forward to the next couple of months. I want to say thank you to Marcin for joining, and yeah, guys, hope you guys have a good rest of the week and a good rest of July, and let's hope for a good Q3 and good Q4 of the year. And yeah, we'll chat to you guys soon.
Thank you, guys. It was a pleasure. Have a great journey with AngelBlock.